almost time. Almost time. Oh my gosh, guys, it's almost time. 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 I'm so excited. Batman is finally here. Hey guys, it's Chris the BSC. Hope you're all doing great. And as you can see, I am freaking pumped. It is almost time for me to go to the very first showing. That's right, the Batman film right here. I cannot wait. This is the IMAX Fan First event, and I cannot wait to see this film. I am so incredibly excited. So I thought, why not take you along for the journey? Mrs. BSC is going to be there. We're going to talk about our expectations. We're going to show the experience. And then also, of course, we're going to talk about it in a spoiler-free way. We will, of course, do a spoiler show probably next week, but I wanted to do a spoiler-free video for you guys today. So without further ado, let's get on the road. So we are on the road, and we want to talk a little bit about this film. I want to pick her brain a little bit, as you know, not a giant Batman fan, but I'm very excited about this film. I was very excited about it when it was going to be a Ben Affleck film. It was going to be called The Batman. He was going to direct. He was going to have Joe Manganiello in it as Deathstroke.
All about Joe.
She loves her Joe. But anyway, this film obviously evolved into what it is with Matt Reeves directing. What did you think of when they first cast Robert Pattinson? Because I know the community was not all that excited about it.
The community was not excited about it, but I was. I'm willing to give him a chance. I think that he certainly has the ability as an actor. He's done a lot of indie stuff since his Twilight days. And of course, he's a Harry Potter actor, so in my book, that already puts him cream of the crop. So I was willing to give him a shot. He's got that jawline. I think he's gonna be just fine.
I think he'll be just fine. Obviously, reviews have been very, very good so far for this film. I think it's at like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So that's very encouraging. Some people have said this is the best comic book movie of all time. Of course, we will see. We'll do a review, a spoiler-free review after the movie's over. But this is supposed to be a very gritty film noir detective story. Does that mean anything to you as a Batman fan?
That means nothing to me. Nothing to me. Yeah, I want a movie to be entertaining. I want it to be enjoyable while I'm in the theater. But having it be a dark, gritty film noir, typically that is not something that I would go to if that were the advertisement for it. So we'll see. We'll see.
It also is scary. It's scary in parts. It's kind of based off of like Chinatown and Seven. You hate scary movies. What do you think about this being a kind of a creepy movie?
I'm a little anxious about it. I do not like the feeling of being scared. It's just not my jam. It's not what I do. I don't like the feeling of being scared. So I am a little nervous about that. There's even scenes in like the Dark Knight series that I'm always like, I kind of turn my head. Like when Scarecrow, morphs and he's, he changes into scary Scarecrow, drug-induced Scarecrow. Fear toxin. Yeah, I don't love that. It's still kind of like I kind of shut my eyes a little. So we'll see.
And this is supposedly very brutal. Like it's a very brutal film, way. So it's going to be interesting to see what you think about that.
I had trouble watching the Batman TV series there for a little while because it just got
Gotham.
Yeah, because it just got so gory. Like, I can do without it.
I don't know if this one will be gory. I just think it'll be like brutal punishment, like Batman's fists. Yeah, I don't think we'll see all that, but maybe we will. Paul Dano, obviously, he's fantastic, and he's the Riddler, so I'm excited to see his take. Some people have said that he and Catwoman steal the show. What do you think about Zoe Kravitz being cast?
I think it's great. I love Zoe Kravitz. I think she'll be great. I have yet to love a Catwoman character, really, so I'm hoping...
Michelle Pfeiffer?
I mean, I like Michelle Pfeiffer, but I'm not sure if I loved her Catwoman. Yeah, I just, it wasn't a character that I was like, oh, I really am enjoying this character. She was so nuts.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, she's very believable nuts.
Very believable nuts.
But if this is supposed to be a little more grounded in reality, I'm looking forward to seeing what she does with it.
I mean, I hear that she's got kind of a different backstory, which is very cool. Obviously, Colin Farrell, which you were a fan of, as the Penguin, which is, again, crazy. You went through all that prosthetics.
Right.
And, you were commenting about that earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. I always think it's interesting in Hollywood when they cast an actor, any actor really, but specifically a well-known actor, and then they make him so you can't recognize him. I always think that's just an interesting move, and it's, I understand that like you wanted Colin Farrell's character and take on the character underneath all those prosthetics, but I don't know, kind of hard to believe you couldn't just find a really good heavyweight actor, because there's certainly plenty of those that wouldn't have required, a fat suit and a prosthetic double chin to make it work.
Well, apparently he doesn't get very much screen time, but they apparently are doing a HBO Max series with him as the Penguin. So it'll be interesting to see what
almost
they do.
Even more bizarre.
Very bizarre. They're also going to do a series on the GCPD based on these films. So obviously there's going to be an expanded universe, which I'm all about. I love that it's not just pigeonholed into one film franchise. I love that they're going to do some TV. Kind of like what they did with Peacemaker. Obviously, that's we just got through watching that whole series.
Which I totally enjoyed.
Yeah, it was great. Peacemaker was fantastic. So anyway, I'm looking very much forward to it. I know you were excited to see it as well.
Look, I got my Batman shirt.
That's right, we got our Batman shirts on, so that's very fun. And I'll show you inside of the theater so you can see kind of what the setup's like with IMAX. And then afterward, we'll give you our review on what we thought. Spoiler free, of course. That'll be up next. Alright, so as you can see, we are here at the IMAX, and this is really cool. They actually gave us Batman comic books, which is really cool. I don't know exactly what's inside, so it's actually it's actually the Long Halloween, little bits of different Long Halloween, maybe a little bit of Hush. It's really cool. So anyway, there went one. Put a couple comic books here. Let's go check out the film. So we are the first ones in the theater.
That sounds right.
Got your popcorn?
Yeah.
Ready to go. All right. So where should we sit? Oh, I guess we have assigned seats. So wow, this is a big place. I have not been to very many IMAX screens, but I did see Dark Knight Rises and Dark Knight in IMAX. I think that's my only two IMAXs. So anyway, can't wait for this thing to start. All right. So we are on the road back home. Just finished an incredible film. Mind-blowing. Now this is again going to be spoiler free, but what did you think of the film?
I thought it was great. 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up from Mrs. BSC, 2 thumbs up from the Batman statue collector. This was an epic film. Was it the greatest comic book film of all time? We were asking ourselves, is this film better than The Dark Knight? Do we personally like The Dark Knight still better than this film? And I think maybe we'll ask that at the very end to kind of answer that question. But
sure.
What did you think about the characters, the character development, and that sort of thing?
I really enjoyed it. Spoiler free, huh?
Spoiler free.
Okay.
Well, I think we're going to do a spoiler show next week. So.
Okay. I really enjoyed it. I thought the characters were very good. I thought Catwoman was really good. Very interesting character. And I liked her character. So that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought Robert Pattinson did a really good job. I know you said you felt like, or you had heard that some of the other characters stole the show. I thought he was fantastic, and it was, in my opinion, it was squarely on his shoulders. I mean, it was squarely on his shoulders, and I thought he did a great job.
I think he did a great job. He was a little bit more of a kind of a subdued Batman.
Batman's always been stoic.
Yeah, it is. But I think he did a phenomenal job. I love the way the suit looked on camera. I thought that looked phenomenal because a lot of people tore it apart. And they said, oh, it's just suit number 1 in the film. But again, this is year 2, so it's going to be, maybe not as advanced as some of his future suits. There were so many, well, I'll get to that here in a second, but there were, again, the character development I thought was really great. I loved the villains. I actually liked Penguin a lot better than I was expecting to like him. I thought he did a fantastic job, Colin Farrell. And just even the Carmen Falcone, like just some of those parts were absolutely fantastic.
Okay, who was that actor? From Seinfeld?
He was in Seinfeld?
Was he in Seinfeld?
Maybe. I don't know.
He's a comedian.
Totoro. No, he was in Transformers. Nicholas Totoro, is that, or something like that? I can't think of his real name. But anyway, he was really good. He might have been in Seinfeld. I don't know. He might have been in an episode. But anyway, I thought that those characters were really well done. There is so much lip service given to the fans or just nods from the comic books. Obviously, The Long Halloween, my favorite Batman story. So many nods from, when he first says the date. It's just like there were little things. There were also little nods to Hush. There were little nods to other storylines, Zero Year. It's just very, very impressive of what they were able to throw into this film. This film was very gritty, very real life. I felt, definitely a lot of political statements made in this film, I feel. But I don't know, what do you think of like the cinematography, like the visuals?
Oh, I thought it was really beautiful. Bottom line, I thought it was really beautiful. There were some scenes that were just so artfully done. It was really, and it was that film noir style that Chris talked about earlier, and I was kind of like, okay, film noir, whatever. But it was really, the cinematography was really beautiful, really made a statement, and really set the tone for the movie. In my opinion, I thought it was very thoroughly done. They kept the same, the same feeling through the whole film.
I think part of that was the score. Consistent, right. That dun 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 dun. I mean, it's just that consistent all the way through the film.
It sounded like the Imperial March to me.
Dun dun dun.
I kept having to listen to it and be like, "Is this?"
Yeah, not the Imperial March, but it was.
But it sounds
I thought the score was. I thought the score was very good. Again, the visuals were just very impressive. Almost, a near masterpiece for me. Especially the scene where Penguin's upside down, the flame, him walking toward the car. Like, we've seen that in the trailer, obviously. And that again is very Zero Year to me. But what else?
He's trying to think of what else we can talk about without being spoiled.
I know, it's hard not to spoil. But we both gave it 2 thumbs up. So, would we recommend this film? Absolutely, 100%.
Definitely go see it. Oh, and I was really...
Is it a film for kids? Like, we have 2 kids. Would you want our kids to see that film?
I don't think so.
It's pretty dark.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Just thinking it over. It wasn't graphic by any means. It wasn't...
gory. There was no gore.
It wasn't really gory by any means.
There were some uncomfortable parts, like some of the... the people that were killed, like the way they were killed was uncomfortable.
Definitely. I think that's why I would say no for kids. Our oldest is 12, and I would have to say no for him.
I think he's probably close to being able to see it, but I think it would bother him a little bit.
Yeah.
It's hard not to spoil things because again, there's just a lot going on. What do you think of the relationship with Bruce and Selena?
I thought it was good. I mean, it definitely felt like a developing relationship. Like, we're definitely gonna see more of that later.
Yeah.
But it just felt like the very beginnings of a relationship.
The thing about Batman stories to me are they've been going for 70 plus years. It's an ongoing soap opera, so to speak, of different angles and different situations over the years. And I feel like this film, more than anything, left it open for more of that. Whereas some of the other films, the main character dies, or this happens or that happens, and each film sometimes feels like they could be separate. Whereas this film, I feel like it is just going to open up a bigger world. Not only for inmates at Arkham or Blackgate or wherever, but also just how the city changes and how Bruce changes within the city. And again, I love the fact that they didn't do an origin story, which has been done to death. I thought Matt Reeves was brilliant to not do it again, but they still talk about the things that happen. So I mean, it's like you context clues,
right?
Which is great. Sorry, this road is incredibly bumpy. Yeah, sorry. I'm sure the camera's shaking, but. Hopefully you guys can see us in the dark here. Paradise by the Dashboard Light, right? A little Meatloaf tribute there. But what was I saying?
I don't know. What I keep thinking about, is there anything, or specifically, because I have one in mind, but is there a character who you didn't like? Is Is there anything that you would have, that you say, I don't know, that wasn't maybe spot on for you?
No, I thought all the casting was really good. All the main characters, I mean, you know, picking Paul Dano, you know, might not be the most obvious choice for the Riddler, but
They
then,
obviously had a specific in mind.
but I mean, he's also an anybody. He could be an anybody, you know, that type
Which
of
is the
that,
point.
Which is
I
the
think
point.
That's the whole
And so
thing.
the casting for me was brilliant. It didn't need, you know, an over the top. You know, Jim Carrey did a great job as the Riddler, obviously, but we didn't need that in this film. That wasn't the idea for this. I think that this film is definitely going to get Riddler some more play because, you know, some people, he's a, you know, third-rate villain. Just does little jokes and little quizzes and riddles. So I really like the way they did him. I think that they did a really nice job, and they tied everything really nicely together with a nice little bow. I also think that this world, you know, it just so leaves open the possibilities for Court of Owls, which I know that Matt Reeves would like to do, or maybe Robert Pattinson said that. I think maybe he did. I think it was Matt Reeves that said he would love to approach a Mr. Freeze and set him in that world. But Court of Owls,
Mr. Freeze feels like a third rail. Don't touch it.
well, I think it could be very interesting if done right. But Court of Owls for sure would fit in this world like no other. I think that would be a perfect film number 2. Again, no spoilers here, but you know, there's a great scene toward the end. I think you're really going to enjoy. There's no end credit scene, but there is an end credit little blurb. Which is worth staying for.
Hey, by the way, if you're going, try to record that blurb.
Yeah, because
because it flashed too fast to get all of it.
It flashed something and we can't tell what it is. I'm sure everybody on the internet will probably post it.
It'll be up on YouTube in 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably.
Or it's probably already there.
Already there. But anyway, it's worth staying for. Again, it's not an actual scene, but it is, you know, verbiage. So that was cool.
What did you think of the IMAX experience? We don't get to do that very often.
I've only been to like 3 IMAX movies in my life, and I loved it. I thought it was really great. I at the beginning, I'm sure you sensed it too, but there was a little bit of motion-y stuff.
There was a couple times I had to...
Yeah, she gets motion sick, and like I was like, even
I think they had maybe a helmet cam or something,
yeah.
and I was like, oh,
no,
no,
a camera on a motorcycle or something, like weaving in and out. And
yeah.
So, but the overall experience, I mean, good Lord, if you could go see this in IMAX, go see it in IMAX.
Man,
it was really good.
There was one scene where the sound...
Oh, the whole theater like kept shaking and vibrating.
Unbelievable,
like explosions.
So powerful. And it was like...
I've never experienced it. I don't know.
That was really... Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. I kind of wondered if there was actually like vibration things in the ground.
I know,
because it was so strong.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it must have just been the bass, but like it just, every time there was something exploding, that would just, the whole theater would shake. It felt like being on like a ride at Universal or something. It's got that built in. But that was really impressive. The sound, again, just the overall visual and just the size of the screen was really great. So if you can see it in IMAX, I definitely recommend it. I think anytime seeing it now will be kind of a downgrade a little bit, seeing it in a regular theater, but you're still going to enjoy this movie tremendously. Anything you else want to say about it before we go on to the last question?
Okay, well, I have a controversial opinion, maybe.
All right.
But something that did not work for me.
Okay.
You said there was nothing. You felt like it was spot on. Andy Serkis for me.
People either love him or hate him.
It just did not work for me, and maybe it's because I don't know. He just didn't do it for me. And maybe it's because of course, Alfred is a side character, you know, but in a lot of the Batman movies, Alfred is a sidekick. I mean, you know, he's headquarters, you know, and I think he was in this, but it just felt a little...
But you have to remember, this is only year 2. This is year 2 of him as the Batman.
Right.
So there's still that relationship obviously is still developing in this film, and I feel like that we'll get to there. You know, we'll get to that point. Don't you think?
Yeah, I really was like, boy, I wish that was Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Well, it's funny because like we've never seen an actual Alfred the way he's portrayed in the comics. The traditional like the skinny butler with the black hair on the side and the thin mustache. So every Alfred's been a little different.
Yeah.
And I was curious also by his casting. also by Gordon. Gordon's casting surprised me too, but I think he did a phenomenal job.
Man, what have we seen him in before?
I don't know. And I know he's a good. Jeffrey Wright, is that his name?
I don't know. It was just stuck in my craw. Like, where do I know him from? He also looks like someone I know in our hometown, so that bothered me too.
So he was really good.
But he was great.
But
I don't mind. That didn't bother me. Like the difference in Jim Gordon's, the difference in Catwoman's, that didn't bother me. For some reason, the difference in Alfred did feel a little like.
I will say this Catwoman to me is the most pound for pound best Catwoman. I feel like they did a really good job with her.
Sometimes when you have little 95-pound women in these roles, I'm thinking like Angelina Jolie or whatever, and they're in these fight scenes and you think
she could kick some butt.
And when they do it in a way where you think, man, she could probably kick my butt.
Yeah.
When in reality, like, you could snap her like a twig.
Yeah, Zoe Kravitz could do that.
And it was very believable. It really felt like Zoe Kravitz could probably walk in here and kick some tail if absolutely need be. So I thought she was super badass.
Yeah, I thought she was.
Can't say that.
I think you can. That's all right. We're PG-13 here on the channel ish. But anyway, I thought she did a phenomenal job, and I love Michelle Pfeiffer. Probably still my favorite Catwoman. Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I really did enjoy her as the Catwoman. I like that she did different wigs and had different motives, and I love the background story, which I'm not going to get into here for spoils. But again, just so many nods to the comics, which I really appreciate. So. Again.
And also, if you don't know anything about the comics, you can still enjoy it, because that's me. I don't know anything about the comics. I've read The Long Halloween because it's in our bathroom, and so...
Perpetually in our bathroom.
It's perpetually in our bathroom, so I have read Long Halloween, but even if you know zilch about the comics, this is still a really enjoyable movie, so...
But did you see the tie-ins there whenever you...
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a lot of Long Halloween and Dark Knight as well.
And of course, whenever there was a tie-in, my husband went...
Yeah, and I heard other people ooh and ah in the theater too. I was not the only super geek in there. Obviously, if you're watching tonight, you're probably a super geek, super Batman fan. So anyway, I really enjoyed the film. We give it 2 thumbs up. Final question is Dark Knight or this film?
Okay, well, I thought this was outstanding, but it's still Dark Knight for me, and I can tell you why, but I want to hear your reason first.
Right now,
I want to hear you first.
Okay,
what do you think?
Just right now, I lean a little bit more toward the Dark Knight, and it's for a couple reasons. Number one, Heath Ledger. There were so many great roles in this film, but I feel like, for me, it's still Heath Ledger. If you took Heath Ledger out of the Dark Knight, I probably wouldn't love it. But Heath Ledger, for me, is still number one. Then, it was actually after the movie. It was in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We were leaving the film, and I was numb. I was like dizzy. I have never experienced a feeling like I did leaving that theater. I enjoyed this film tremendously. Again, near masterpiece in my opinion. But I didn't get that same feeling that I did as The Dark Knight. So that just tells me a little something about me and myself. I think this one is just maybe slightly under it. And maybe tomorrow I'll feel differently. That's just where I feel right now. How about you?
So the reason that I feel that way is because something you probably don't know about me, but I love true crime. Like I'm a true crime junkie.
Constantly.
All the time, it's my thing. But I like true crime. And I felt like this movie, Batman could have been subbed in for anybody. It could have been any detective, any hero figure. He could have been subbed in for anybody. And it would have been a fantastic movie. Would have been a fantastic movie either way.
Which is just like the Joker. The Joker movie was like that, where it just happened to be a Joker characters in this sad story about society. Like it had that same type of vibe. It didn't have to be.
Maybe I don't know. I never saw that.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, some of you might know what I mean.
But that's where I feel like that's where Dark Knight edges it out. Dark Knight, very clearly a Batman movie. There's enough suspension of reality in Dark Knight that it makes it more of a fantasy. It makes it more of a comic book. Whereas this is so realistic and so gritty. It could have been just a hero cop movie. Like he could have just been a hero cop. Like not any other, but like a really good you know, detective or adventure movie that we've seen.
Suspenseful.
Yeah, that we've seen in other. It was beautiful and well written and whatever, but you know, the troubled cop who comes back to help solve a problem, whatever. It could have been any of those type of in that genre. It just happened to be wearing a cowl and a cape. So I think that was the difference. Is it didn't. It could have been. That's where it missed for me. Is that it was great and very realistic and very gritty, but because of all of that, it really made itself into could have been any kind of a detective.
Yeah.
A detective cop movie almost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So that's where I would say the difference was for me. Whereas Dark Knight felt very
Batman.
Very Batman. And this didn't have that same fanciful, that's not the right term, but fantasy Batman feel about it.
Did you feel like it was too long? Or did you feel like it was just right?
I thought it was fantastic.
3 hours.
Yeah, and I said this, that there were multiple times where I kind of thought, okay, we've hit the peak, and now we're going to kind of do the slow downhill slide to the end.
Nope.
And then something else would happen. I was like, oh crap! Now something else would happen. Oh crap! So it was not too long. It really kept you involved, kept you interested, kept you going.
I thought at some point you might say it's like, oh, when's this thing going to get over? But it never really felt that way.
And I never looked at my watch.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And sometimes in a movie I'm like, geez, how long have we been going here? But I never looked at my watch.
Yeah. So there you have it. That's our thoughts and opinions. Again, we'll talk about it on Rogues Gallery Live this week. Again, spoiler free, so feel free to join us. And then probably next weekend we'll probably do a spoiler show because I really want to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions. So if you would do so in the comments, please make it spoiler free as well. But let me know what you thought of it.
Can we jump in with one more thing?
Yep.
It was really fun. I think because this was a preview night. Before the movie started, they had a countdown screen.
It's awesome.
That had kind of some of the splash graphics and promo stuff that they were doing for the Batman. I showed them in the video. And, it's in the video. Okay, good. But what we really liked is we were on Facebook and we could see all of you guys out there with pictures of your screens. Like, oh, look, so-and-so's at the movie. Oh, look, so-and-so's at the movie. So that was really fun. I thought that was fun. I want to give a shout out to Dan Default and, of course, Brad. Brad posted some photos as well. I saw a number of other collectors out there doing the same. Joe was out there. So
Joe Figure, and so that was really cool. So anyway, please leave your comments down below, guys. Again, please keep them spoiler free. Just what you thought of the film, and then I'll basically do a spoiler one later on, and you guys can talk all you want. So anyway, thank you guys so very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you
in the back
cave. Bye, everybody.